I will say that like a lot of our definitions or understanding of what healing is coping with dysfunction. Our fellow veterans who have passed away by suicide and have had to publicly take photos of their banking card details so that people can put in money. I was that person in that position too, because I would go
at your young age.
Oh, and my age, you know. And you know what's interesting? I don't know a single actor that isn't complaining about the same things. Even the co-star that violated me. I feel like I've been blackballed and I don't know what to do, you know, and I feel like unaliving myself, and I'm so confused.
It got that bad.
It got very, very bad, you know. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
What is your state of mind about the concept of being liked?
I don't care for that anymore. You know, and I think a lot of me healing was realizing that like I matter and my dignity matters beyond people liking me. I felt like I couldn't afford justice.
Yeah.
I felt like justice was a very expensive thing. And now I'm just like, okay, now I'm starting to redefine what it means to sell your soul.
Because it clashes with your core.
Yes. So it's not just about this contract that you sign with the whatever entity, the secret society. It's in the little things. Not just on one occasion, but on two occasions where I stood up for what was right. I was blackballed, you know.
King David Studio podcast.
We have a guest who's been trending. We don't normally do shows that trend. However, we felt her life story is interesting because she's born of a family of artists and great artists. I had a chance to hang out with her mom for 2.5 hours. She spoke non-stop about everything, including the very person I'm with right now. She was this close from telling me about how you were conceived. I promise you, she went that far. She told so much. I'm glad you're here, Nirvana. Nokwe-Mseleku. If you get married,
I don't plan on getting married.
Hypothetical scenario.
Yes.
You actually meet the one. Didn't plan. It happens.
Yeah.
And you fall head over heels. And following day he says,
what am I going to do about my surnames?
I'm glad you know where I'm going with this. What do you do?
Oh, I think it depends. I think there's different kinds of marriage, and the only kind that I validate for myself is umcaco. So if umcacisiwe ke, I know, but I'll still, of course, basazongibiza ngoma Nokwe.
Okay.
Yes. So it won't. I'll still have that. So they'll still call me by my maiden name in that home. But
Got
yes. So if things are done correctly, absolutely. But until that day, no. I don't even plan for that day right now. Yeah.
It's amazing how your answer was so quick to say, I don't plan to get married.
I don't plan.
It came in a answer.
I don't. No, not anytime soon.
Is there a reason why that position is so clear in your mind?
Yes, I think I've seen, and it's not to say that there aren't beautiful examples of marriage out there, but I think for me and for the kind of person that I am, I think I'm really starting to recognize how I value my sovereignty, and I think that marriage is an institution that governs something.
Okay.
So I think right now I'm still like deconstructing my mind about a lot of things, a lot of isms that we all have, you know? So I wouldn't want to perpetuate an ism unknowingly and getting into myself into a contract that I didn't know I was signing with hidden T's and C's. And I think a lot of people get into that. And I think generations before, are saying learn from our mistakes or the right decisions that we've made, So with everything, like I said, I think if it's done in the correct way, and there's a lot of nuance even in saying the correct way. If it's meant to be, and I won't feel like I'm losing myself, then I'll do it.
We don't get to that way of thinking by waking up in the morning and suddenly we are there.
Yeah.
What has led to that? Do you know? Can you trace how your thoughts got to there?
Yes, my mom used to speak about poly-emotion. There was a period in my life, I think I was a teenager, where she was really like owning, number one, polyamory, but she's a bit asexual, so for her it was poly-emotion because she genuinely believes that you can have like multiple friends and find multiple fulfilling relationships from a whole variety of people. And I think for her, because of the kinds of relationships she had seen growing up in her community, as well as the relationship that she had with my dad, possession, it's just, but I think she could recognize that community is important. No more do whether you're dating them or whether you marry them, it doesn't mean that person owns you. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing that she was advocating for. And I think because of those ideologies that she used to push as she was discovering them and contemplating on them, gave me a sense of like, clarity of like, actually, yes, I do understand.
She had a great influence in your life.
Yeah, she has. She's a rock star. I love her. Yes.
Wow.
I have a lot of respect for her. And the older I get and the more I heal, I have even more respect for her.
You were born in an interesting setup. Having had a chat with her very recently, I can tell you that she was also probably born into a similar home as you.
Yes.
This house had a lot of arts, had a lot of noise,
yes.
a lot of music, a lot of entertainment, but also it was politically conscious.
Yes.
It wasn't just siyajaiva, siyacula,
yes.
and that's the end of it. For your experience, when your eyes opened to realize that you are in this house with these people, what are your early memories of consciousness, political consciousness for that matter?
Okay, I love that question. So I would say we would have spiritual hangouts at something like a program called Amachiga Youth and Children Arts. And Amachiga used to be held at our grandparents' home in Wamashu, as well as at my mother's home in Marshalltown. So every Saturday, that would be us. And we would get into self-development, meditation, figuring out how to schedule and structure your life. And my mom had a very holistic view of approaching art. Because you are the human being, you're not just the robot for the artistry to come out. You need to pray, you need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to connect with people. And
meditation, to connect with self.
And to connect with self, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the intersection of spirituality and politics, all of it was intertwined, and it just made sense that everything was connected from a very young age. And just based on like how Uma was, like my mom at the time, I mean, my mom was just being herself, but she was a political statement, with her projects. Like, I remember there's this vinyl where it says "Mind Your Own Business." That was the name of the song. I don't know if it was an album or the song, but like she was the political statement in terms of like owning her sovereignty,
Yes.
So I would say that, but also just exposure to extended family, the Nokwe family. Of course, Umkhulu Duma Nokwe, who was the first Black advocate la Mzansi Africa, and our connection with Mam Nosizwe and Mam Nomvuyo, and
there's Marilyn's name that crosses.
Yeah, so that's my Umamkhulu. That's my mom's older sister.
Yes.
Yes, and so it was the politics and the music and everything was interwoven because the music was advocating for freedom in South Africa, outside of South Africa.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, now that we break down what healing looks like in this new age with the influx of information that we have about healing now, healing is not just in the mind, it's in the body.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? And it's in the feeling and in the movement and expression. So if it's depression, it's because you're not expressing something, right?
What is your state of mind now?
That's a good question. I think I've just come out of a very shocking period, a whirlwind. And I'm just trying to be very careful with myself because it feels like disinfectant has just been put on a wound. And now isiqala ukuphola. So that's what it feels like. I feel like the wound is strong enough to withstand not having anything over it.
Okay.
But it's that, when the white blood cells start to, that's exactly where I'm at right now.
Which is not a bad place.
Yes, it's a
very good place.
Yes, it's a good place.
But if we use that same analogy of wound, it means for it to get here, it had to go through a lot of pain.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Yeah.
It had to being open wound, exposed to infection.
Yes.
And
also being exposed to the actual thing that's going to help it heal. It hurts.
That too.
Yeah,
yes. That too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, like all wounds, it was once just nothing, and then suddenly there's a horrible wound.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's starting to heal. We experience it as ordinary South Africans who are seeing it on social media, in the news, and so forth, as something that probably just started now. That's how we see it. It's something that just exploded now. But then you read into it, you realize that this is actually an old wound. It's not new. Can it be traced in your thoughts before the actual incident? So
what wound are we speaking about?
We're talking about this incident that's been in the news recently. And I call it an incident because, that's our reference to it, that there's a moment where the actual assault happens. Yeah. In your reference to it, do you carry any of that type of thinking long before, or it's the sovereignty that you speak of?
What kind of thinking?
The thinking that says South Africa's masculinity is over dominant, and it finds itself in spaces where certain people are protected or certain power is protected and so forth. Because we spoke about your political consciousness, the environment. And like I said, I'm familiar with your mom's way of thinking because I sat with her. So that's why I sit and wonder if that type of position is something that you've always had to say, be aware of this, probably as a young girl. Yeah. What is your state of mind in that regard?
I think that with regards to how I see what's happened with the experiences I went through on a particular production, right? It's not an isolated event, and nor is it personal, even if it affects me personally. It's the result of something quite systemic, right? And I think that awareness has been there for a while. I won't say all the time.
Okay.
I think there were times where I wasn't conscious to what was going on, right? But, instances like this aren't... They happen to us personally and they impact us personally. And it's interesting that... people will say don't take it personally, and you don't have to if you don't want to, or you can. It really is up to the honesty of how you experience things. But it's not an isolated event. It happens every single day in every different variation. And I think I think I've just been, especially now, the more I heal and the more autonomy I guess I have over what it is that I consume and the different patterns I'm noticing in life and asserting my boundaries and asserting my boundaries in a culture that doesn't really value boundaries, you know? It values coercive control and being malleable and just, yes, okay, no, we'll make it work, you know? Yeah, that's the culture. It's not the only culture in South Africa,
Of course, yeah.
but it's a subculture and a coping mechanism. And so a lot of I've found, like in my posts as of late, like the comments that I've been reading through, there's a lot of people who will say, or rather, there was one particular comment I will say, where oh mama, and I'm struggling to remember who it was, but she was like, Nirvana, I'm coming to you as a mother. Pray on this, meditate, heal, and just think about things. And you know, it was interesting because in that whole process I wasn't disconnected from God, and I'm still not. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still not, and I, you know, if there's something that I'm learning, even in breaking down like the theology of Christianity in particular, right? And of course, I feel like I experience uNkulunkulu in a variety of ways through my Zulu culture, but also through Christianity, right? And when I actually do the research on the theology of things, because I think it's important that we actually look at the definition of words instead of just assuming that we understand what something means, right? People decided what the definitions of certain things were going to be in the different versions of the Bible,
And spread that understanding.
Yes. And so it's a perspective,
100%.
right? But when you trace that back, and when I look at what prayer actually meant in the Hebrew, in the original language, in the most original, because also we really don't know.
That's another perspective.
Yes, that's another perspective. It meant to contemplate. It meant to think. Prayer, the word that they chose was pray, but that word actually meant to think. In the same way, the actual word of sin, from the original text, it actually meant to miss the mark. So misalignment and contemplation, and bringing yourself back to alignment through contemplation.
It's a friend of mine who says it's a flight that has a route and it's on autopilot, but the wind keeps pushing it to the side.
Yes.
And if it was never corrected, it'll end up landing at the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Because it's bringing it back in line.
Yeah.
And that is in
That's
that
exactly,
context, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not just a violence,
No, of
stringent.
course, yes.
It's understanding why is it going.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the whole process, and I think that's the love of God. The fact that that's the unconditional love of God, which is allowing us to go through the different processes, right? Because we find growth in that. So when I saw that comment, I was compelled to say, you know, Mama, this is not disconnected from God at all. In fact, this is a part of my healing. And then now we look at how do we define healing, right? And in the same way that I spoke about the subculture of South Africa being, you know, that aren't really respectable, is, you know, I will say that a lot of our definitions or understanding of what healing is coping with dysfunction. So
And that's where we are.
yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of us will say heal. What we actually mean is cope with the dysfunction.
Or Iba strong.
Iba strong. Yes.
We say that.
Yes, Iba strong.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, my healing is responding appropriately to the situation at hand. And it's so interesting that people will say, you need to go to therapy. I have invested many, many years of my life in therapy. Yeah. I still do it now. And in that, I am learning that the healing is in being honest about how the situation has impacted me and how it is right or wrong, or I agree with it or I disagree with it, and how I need to move and adjust and protect myself, and what I believe based on my values needs to be done and what I care about, right?
What do you think people misunderstand? And as they're misunderstanding, leads to them forming an opinion.
Yeah.
And clearly a strong opinion.
A very strong opinion. Yeah. I think people misunderstand that, like, you can be hurt more than once, and that doesn't make it your fault. It makes it an issue of the system and the culture, right? And I think that, Shema, I think, like when I saw some of the comments, I could recognize how much denialism exists in our culture. It's not to say that someone is forced to accept what I've gone through. It's not for them to accept, right? It's what I went through.
True.
So now it's like I'm noticing that we don't actually know what the difference between you and me is. So there's a blend. You are me, I am you, but like there's a line, a very clear line between where I start and begin and where you start and begin. And so there's a lot of people who don't know what the boundaries are.
True.
And what like similar to what my mom said, mind your business, what actually is our business, And that's not to say that, and this is certainly what I certainly don't believe that in minding my business, I don't care about the world, right? But it's in how I engage with the world. Everybody has, like when we look at the word responsibility, it is the ability to respond. So what are you able to respond to right now, right? I have the power to respond to my emotions and what it is that I say. I recognize my power in the sense that, like, I have the ability to stand up and go or sit down, make choices. If something is done to me that's not okay, even in that, I can choose how I deal with the situation.
How you respond.
How I respond to it.
Yeah.
Right. So I realized that, like, South Africa, but like South Africa, when we've been saying we need to heal, but like, I think there's a lot of shame in the general sense of what I feel as South Africans. Like there's a shame that we carry, a shame about our anger. And I think anger is an important emotion because anger tells you what your boundaries are. So you see how, like, the whole, it all links into each other. People not understand what their boundaries are and then denying that something happened because they don't understand what the boundary is.
Yes.
Right. And then
then what you're talking about conceptually is an advanced class. There's class 1 that is not understood,
yes,
which is the boundary.
Yes.
And so if you're in class 2, your understanding is completely zero because you didn't go through the first one.
Yes.
Whew.
Yeah.
Because I read some of the comments and some are harsh, some are understanding, some are disappointing, and maybe because, as humans, we have a tendency of taking positions, irrespective of whether our knowledge on the matter is enough. Yes, we will take a side, and that's something that we do very, very quickly. We support soccer teams. We were talking about soccer teams earlier.
Congratulations to your soccer team.
You see,
yes.
We take positions, irrespective of the details, and that's really what it is.
Yes.
Do you find, have you been hurt by some of the commentary at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, and the thing that hurts is, it's like, but how do you know? Or actually, I think what hurts is when someone takes a stance about something and they haven't gone through the evidence that's already there. So I think the biggest, and I want to be careful when I say this word, betrayal that I felt was people being committed to misunderstanding the situation, even when everything, it's like, where's the evidence? You got the evidence. you got the correspondence. Okay, what? It's just emails. It's just emails. Yes, but what do the emails say?
Yeah.
What does the correspondence say? But you should have taken it to the cops. I did. Oh, what did the police say? The policeman that I was speaking to doesn't understand the definition of sexual assault, and that's his job. To understand is his job, but he didn't understand.
So that's another thing.
That's another thing. Yes, you see. So it's like, to be compassionate is really like this is why I'm so proud of my culture as a Zulu woman, or just as a Black South African woman, because when we really look at it, and not the stuff that's been sensationalized now, right? Not the performance of Africanism, but the deep system and strategy of how you, number one, raise a human being and then have a functional home and have a functional family, and then going into the village and in the country. And I have such a deep, the more I go into it, I have more and more respect for indigenous knowledge systems. Yeah, because I'm seeing the dysfunction. I'm just like, this. Yeah.
Something that stands out for me about, seeing this thing that you've been going through is some of the clear state of mind in this regard, in terms of where you are and where you want to be, where you want to go. Has it affected the way you see the world that has exposed us to you, which is film and television and acting?
Yeah.
Has it affected it fundamentally? Before you answer, Aaron, help me with the TV, comrade. I don't know where's the remote. Where is it?
The mouse.
No, it's not. You see. Anyway, don't worry about it. We're going to carry on, but please find the remote. Yes. Has it affected your work?
What? Sorry.
The way you see your relationship with your career, with the chosen career, the career that has made us see you and love you and see you on one of my favorite shows on TV, which is Outlaw.
Yes, I love that show.
You see what I mean? It's one of my favorite shows.
Yes.
Trust me, I've seen it a few times.
Yes.
Because I just love it so much.
It's a good story. Yeah.
So has it affected the way you see your career in that sense?
I mean, I think I certainly don't feel like. Are we specifically speaking about the incident?
The incident.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the incident and where you are now.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that the harm I've experienced takes away from the greatness of what it is that I was able to accomplish with people. Right? I'm very proud of the collaborations that I've been able to do, and the TV show, the experience that I've had hasn't been in vain, and I'm very appreciative of it. But in my healing, as a lot of people will say, Nirvana, go heal, and sometimes in a very patronizing, unkind way, as though I'm delusional.
Heal, sis.
Yes, heal.
There's a way you say it.
There's a way you say it. Yeah, like heal. And a lot of people have disrespected me in that regard and have not shown kindness or consideration or even curiosity,
At least that's better than...
And at the end, it's so interesting because I'm I'm pretty much quite an open book, and it's like, for me, it was just like, okay, I'm an open book and you're not curious and you're still telling me to heal, and I'm responding appropriately to situations now more than ever, and I am healing, and I am becoming even more well because I'm responding to situations appropriately. I'm not people pleasing, and that's the part of the foundation of. And I want to be careful when I say this because it's not the only foundation, but part of the foundation of like the way in which I participated in the film and TV industry, and also the way it's foundationally set up, right, is please people to get ahead.
Do you know there's a Nirvana quote Trust me, I have lots of them. Because you said a lot.
I've seen it. I say a lot.
Yeah. Recently, you've said a lot.
I've said a lot.
I have a Nirvana quote that says, needing to be chosen. That's the phrase you use. You're saying there's an incessant need to be chosen in your career. How define that for me?
Well, I'll start on the surface, right? How it looks like. You go to auditions, and it's not to like. I'm not looking down at auditions, right?
Yeah.
I've found some of the most fulfilling experiences from auditions, in particular with commercials, because I've done a lot of those. But going to auditions, and then kind of just like giving your performance, and then hoping to get the call. Am I appropriate for the role? Do they like me? And it's sad because, some people, of course, we have our conversations as fellow actors or fellow members of the industry, either casting directors here or there, who share the same values, because not everybody shares the same values, of like how people will talk about people that they need to make decisions about whether they get the role or not, right? Yeah. And it's like, but it's not just getting the role. It's like, I'm making a decision on whether you eat or not.
Ooh.
Which, it's the tone. The reason I say it like that is because it's the tone of it, because it is the gig economy. Highly unpredictable. The laws haven't changed since apartheid. We're still waiting for the Copyright Amendment Bill to be signed.
Yeah.
And
you will go in with 20 other people.
Yes.
Who are looking for the same
opportunity.
So inherently the competition ends up with the winner is.
Yes.
And then that's it. They get the job.
Yes, they get the job.
And the rest don't.
Yes. And
they don't get
to eat. And they're not told. They just see.
Yeah.
So it's just it's hard. But it's so now when your food security is contingent on you being liked, right? And when the metrics of success are constantly changing, because for some people it's not dependent on your talent. Right. It's dependent on how you look or whether they like you. Or maybe, I've heard people tell me in certain meetings with people who are casting, they've heard someone say, this looks like my ex. Don't cast them. So you understand that, like, because of the lack of structure and regulation and the conflicts of interest, people's personal things start to get involved, right? And I think that's very dangerous, especially with arts, right? Because some people may say art is subjective, and I agree and disagree. I think there's nuance to that.
True.
But be
liked is what you're about.
Yeah, to be liked.
Is it something? What is your state of mind about the concept of being liked?
I don't care for that anymore, And I think a lot of me healing was realizing that, like, I matter and my dignity matters beyond people liking me.
Yeah.
Even
if there was no one expressing that they like you,
yes,
you would still be okay.
Yes, I'd still be okay. And it's unfortunate that, we come from a legacy, and it's not just apartheid, right? It's even before that, even before colonialism. You get access.
Yes. Yes.
It's
VIP section.
Yes, VIP section.
Yes,
it's just,
and then there's
yes. So I'm tired of playing the game of like trying to like weigh the value of my humanity and what it is that I think my needs are important and they matter. And I think God gave us the sun to all experience. And, I know some people are going to be like, oh, she's a woo-woo now. She's a Mother Nature girl. But it's true. Yeah, it's true. There's so many barriers to entry. And it's problematic. Entry of the basics. Let's talk just a bit about the basics. Why do I have to look a certain way to be able to afford electricity? Yeah. So that's the deconstruction that I was talking about, because people thought, that, you know, like after that happened and the betrayals I felt, you know, and I experienced with people just not keeping to their word.
Yeah.
About what they said they would do.
And they didn't.
And them changing because they were afraid of the consequences or whatever it is they thought. I can't speak for them. But it's just like, like, what? It's like, okay, but I thought I was being proactive by, I thought I was being, but I just wanted a written apology, and then I compromised again, and I agreed to a mediated meeting, but that didn't happen. Even when people said they were going to deal with it appropriately. So now it's like, what is am I responding to the harms that happen on my body appropriately?
Would this have ended differently? Is there a particular way that you would have ideally preferred this to be dealt with?
Yeah.
I imagine there is and that was not done.
Yeah.
What is that ideal outcome?
Well, let's just start from when like after the incident, immediately after when, or maybe let me say a few minutes after, and then I've confronted him. Yes, on the day.
Yes.
Yeah, and I confronted him and quite angrily saying, What was that? Why did you
do that?
Why did you do that? And I think in that specific moment, I think I would have really appreciated humility and just being like, Nirvana, I'm so sorry. I really messed up. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. Instead of like I'm really, really sorry, Nirvana. And I don't know how to make the things right now, but I'm sorry, and I'm willing to amend in the way that's appropriate going forward, whatever that looks like. Instead of being told, I take full accountability for what I did, but have grace. It's a 10 scene and a 10 set. You know, and those are two different, tonally very different things.
100%.
And they come from very different psychological spaces. And the reason it's such a big deal is because for years, people have been coercively controlled or coerced into a system of thinking that the only time their human dignity matters is when they're dominating people. You know,
and that's their orientation, and as a result, they will react that way.
So now it's like, where's the boundary? Like, this is I communicated my boundaries. The boundaries are even in my contract. You didn't respect my boundaries. Why are you trying to run away from the feelings of guilt and shame by saying how dare? Like, it's for me. I'm trying not to put words in my
the tone.
Yes, in my co-star's mouth. But when I interpret the tone, it's like, but how dare you? Because you should have grace, and we should just move on, and we should just be okay because this is already tough already. You know, how, you know.
Are you saying it could have ended? Right there and then, essentially.
It could have. It could have. It could have. And the opportunities were there. I mean, that was the first opportunity, right? It's okay. Because I said, what do you mean have grace? And as I was saying that, the second director, who also sent me a text saying, hey, Nirvana, I'm not going to mention their name, but if you want to see it, it's on my page. I must admit I tossed and turned with worry last night, but rest assured this situation is going to be dealt with appropriately. And, you know, that kind of tone is like, I acknowledge, do you get what I mean? That's I acknowledge your human dignity, and this was not okay. And it needs to be, I see you, right? As opposed to have grace, you know? So now there was the opportunity. Then, another opportunity was when he said the same thing somewhat in front of everyone, right? I take full accountability for what I did. But I'm just not comfortable with doing the scene again because my stunt double wasn't going to be able to do that scene again due to the fact that the end of the scene and what we just shot was on my close-up. So of course,
your face is
my
there.
face is there, right? But again, no simulation of sexual violence, right? Or anything of a sexual nature, but it's implied in the fact that, it's about to happen, right? So, and it's not my first time telling a story like this, you know? So basically now it's like I take full accountability for what I did, but I don't want to do it again because it's going to be at the back of my mind that I thrust her. So again, it's like, okay, fine. We're not going to, but we don't have a stunt double to be able to do that.
No.
And because of your discomfort, that's okay. Of course, you're also human. We have to respect your lines. And then it was they called rap for the day, and the main director of the day.
All this happened in one day.
It was a night, yeah.
Yes, so to speak.
Yeah. And the main director came to me and he was like, Nirvana, what your co-star did was completely unacceptable. He can't get carried away. He's an actor. We're acting. But don't worry, we're going to deal with this, right? So here I'm experiencing, and then of course the producer they walked me to the car. The producer's like, think about how you want to handle this, right? So the producer, the two directors, all men, right, are responding to this appropriately, right? After my co-star was also a man, responded to it and also done something incredibly inappropriate, right? And then, I go into have meetings at the production in the following days with my agents, and they agree to facilitate it because they asked me what kind of recourse would I want, which was a written apology, because I didn't want to hear "have grace" again, So I had think about it first, and then,
Did that come through?
No.
Whoa.
Yeah. No.
Were you surprised?
Yes. Yeah. The written apology didn't come. Safety officer from Swift tried to mediate, and she asked me to compromise on a mediated meeting, and that never happened.
At what stage do you then feel this is not attended to? I will then treat it as a criminal offense?
When the production company had lawyers, and this was months after, I think it was 8 months after.
Wow.
Yeah, because we'd been following up still. And this is the funny part. This is where the grace is extended.
Yes,
I'm offering
the very grace.
The very grace is being extended. They had lawyers because my manager started to step in, and his name is Michael K. Fisher, and he's based in.
Actually, he commented recently.
Yeah.
That he's fully aware of everything.
Everything. Yeah. And so he started to step in because he felt, he's like, this is ridiculous, and this is, and he believes in human dignity, and he's like, Nirvana, there's absolutely no ways we're just going to let this slide. This is not okay.
Yeah.
And if this were to happen in any other set, he would have gotten fired. But the least he could do is show up to the occasion of a proper remedy, right? Yeah. Which, of course, I communicated as recourse. And the production company had lawyers draft and
escalated.
Yeah, it did. They drafted to him a letter basically saying, if Miss Nokwe-Mseleku believes that she was assaulted, then maybe she should go to the cops. She should she should go to the cops,
So this wasn't even your idea?
No.
That's crazy.
So it came from the production company via their lawyers. Yeah. This alleged, and so it's no longer now
it became
this happened. Yes, it was no longer this happened. And mind you, people have come forward speaking on behalf of others who they work with in other cities in the film and TV industry, saying, Nirvana, we believe you because there's people on our sets who were working on your sets that saw it happen.
There's witnesses,
and the production company is claiming to have investigated and not having found adequate evidence of. So
that's what we all read.
Yes. But it's just like, but they were so who did you question? Because you didn't even question me.
The
person who went through it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I never wrote an email to the production company saying, this is what happened, detailing this is what happened on the set. The email that I wrote to was to Swift, you know. And because they weren't there, you know.
Yes.
They don't.
Everybody else was.
So it wasn't necessary for me to write an email to the people who were there saying, this is what happened.
Almost like, do you remember? Like their memory need to be jogged.
Yes. The correspondence that was there about the situation was, hey, thanks for the meeting. We're going to facilitate the written apology. That was the correspondence.
Wow. I guess what shocks us all is that it's coming out so much time after the incident.
Yes.
Because you know, us as humans, the way we process things, we've watched so many TV shows and movies that you know things happen very quickly.
Yes.
And we are under the impression that this is a week ago, 2 weeks ago event.
Yes.
It's almost 3 years ago.
Yes.
And with the passing of time, a lot
has happened.
Yes. But not the very thing that should have happened.
A lot has happened, but not the thing that should have happened. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where is the matter now? Because there's so many, the production companies talks about it was a choreographed scene. You were offered a stunt double and so forth and so forth.
And I wasn't offered a stunt double. You know, I think that's a nuance that we really need to clarify. I was not offered a stunt double. A stunt double was present to complete whatever scenes needed to be complete. But she was pregnant. She can't be a stunt double. She doesn't have my build because she's pregnant, visibly pregnant.
Yeah.
And in fact, my co-star asked for the stunt double. He said, I will continue to do the scenes with the stunt double because I don't want it to be at the back of my mind that I thrust Nirvana.
Yeah.
So I didn't ask, I offered a solution in saying, listen, I can do this scene again for his shots. I just need him not, I need him not to thrust me this time, meaning that he has an awareness that the boundary exists.
There's a boundary.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so so I did go to the police station. Funny enough, not even the police station. I was redirected to 5-6 different.
I saw that when you said that.
Yes.
It sounds almost like an exaggeration.
No, it's not an exaggeration because they didn't even know how to do. The first few were saying, but this is now a civil matter because this happened at work, and now it's the nuance of the fact that he's like so. And I get the confusion. I understand the confusion of, but you were shooting a rape scene. But you can shoot a sex scene and it's not a porno.
No.
Because we're not having actual...
No.
You know. So you can shoot a murder scene without killing people, you know.
That's true.
But, you know...
Actually, that's generally what happened.
That's exactly... Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. So the first few were very apologetic and I got to the final... police station where my statement was actually taken.
Okay. Wow. So others felt this is not worth taking.
No, it's not even about it being worth taking. It's about who is the
perpetrator?
No, not the perpetrator. So we had to ask, where did the crime happen?
Okay. Where in law do we apply this?
Yes. Where did the crime happen? If it happened in Soweto, in this area, that's the police station that deals.
There's a jurisdiction issue.
Yes, it's a jurisdiction issue that played a role. So I couldn't just go to the police station in my area.
Yes.
Which was very far from Soweto at the time. And even in the police in my jurisdiction redirected me to where they thought it would be appropriate, which was in town, and it was a lot.
How were you feeling through all of this? This pillar to post?
I felt like I couldn't afford justice.
Yeah.
I felt like justice was a very expensive thing.
Wow.
I felt like I needed money. And it's true. I needed money for petrol or Uber.
Yes,
or
I was about to ask. Is your reference to expense?
Yes,
a physical cost.
It was very expensive.
Yeah,
it was very expensive. And then you just you just don't know what you're going to encounter when you get to the cops, because not all cops are the same. Not all cops share the same values. Not all cops have the same understanding or sound understanding of the law. So the person who took my statement, very understanding man, it was paraphrased, right? We tried to get to we paraphrased the whole incident, right? And I had brought a stack of evidence and papers of like correspondence, right? Because essentially the lawyers of the production company told me that I needed to go to the police because if it happened, then why didn't you or just go there? Which I did.
If it's a crime.
Yes, if it's a crime, I'll go there. Which I did. And I brought all of this correspondence because I knew that they were going to say, but this is a civil matter because it happened at work, right? And you already agreed to a mediation, so it needs to be handled in a civil way. And I don't have lawyers for a civil matter. Like I can't afford that. Or I couldn't. I can't. So I brought the stack of papers, correspondence, the WhatsApp messages telling me that we're going to deal with this appropriately, the email from the production company saying we're going to facilitate the apology, thank you for meeting us, the therapy sessions that were booked, the voice notes that I sent to my agent, to the production, everything. I brought it here. Well, I couldn't, of course, the voice notes weren't possible, but I told them.
Brought what you could.
Yes, I told them that, I have this. Even as going as far as showing them correspondence of after I had a phone call with one of the commissioning editors at the media company. I'm not going to mention names, right? And who was also co-founder of Swift, right? Where the safety officer comes from, who on the phone call told me that if I report this to Swift, which I had already done, she said, I'm never going to work. I'm not going to work. And I have to pick my battles.
I hear that often on that chair.
Yeah.
I hear that position. I had someone who said, they say I'm a diva, I'm difficult to work with, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Similar stories, different
fonts,
exactly, absolutely different fonts.
Yeah.
You said it right. I need to use that often. Different fonts, same story, but some of them end up with that phrasing that are you sure you want to do this? Because the implication of your action is far greater.
Yes.
It leads to loss of income and so forth. How did that make you feel?
It coercively controlled and alone. And because I don't have the I don't even know how to describe it, but like it's like umuntu mayethi ay leyanto, like if people are together and they're like smoking or drinking and someone is like, hey, ayingisebenzeli nje leyanto. Yabo. I'm just like, it's never like, I've never gotten the reward of keeping quiet. It's never happened. It's never happened. And I started to like really think about like, if the abuse is systemic, then someone as self-aware and self-assured as me is a problem regardless of whether they are compromising or not. It's an issue.
It's a big issue.
Yeah, it's a big issue. And now I'm just like, okay, now I'm starting to redefine what it means to sell your soul.
Because it clashes with your core.
Yes. So it's not just about this contract that you sign with the whatever entity, the secret society. It's in the little things. Like,
do you worry about not working again?
No, not anymore. Not since I made this decision to stand on my own and just to like really be about what it is that I'm actually about. I'm not concerned anymore because I already experienced financial insecurity, and this isn't something that I've expressed to people online because I saw how unkind and harsh people are, and I felt like this is a part of my dignity that I'm still processing and that's still very sensitive to me. Yeah. But to go to 10 auditions and consecutively be called back and at the finish line of each one, and then not get called for a single one, was something that was so foreign to me. That was something so far, because before this whole incident and before breaking out and being publicly known, I was working.
Yes.
I was working, and I can't say, but I've heard stories of people saying, you will not work. And she said it to me. If you report this to this,
you will not work again.
And she in that moment, she was right.
And you've experienced.
Yes, I've experienced it, and as I'm going through this now, I'm starting to understand our fellow veterans who have passed away by suicide and have had to publicly take photos of their banking card details so that people can put in money. I was that person in that position too, because I would go
at your young age.
Oh, and my age, because I'm protecting my human dignity. I went 7 days without electricity.
Wow. Yeah.
On a number of occasions. And then you also start to see, unfortunately, because of the building that I was working in, they don't necessarily, I'm not working and living in, they didn't necessarily believe in following the law of constitution. They believed in bullying people into taking out money that they didn't have at the time. And it's not like I wasn't getting an income. An income was coming, but because of the nature of the gig economy, I can't tell you when my salary is going to come out, right? Yeah. And that's a systemic issue. So they made it a personal issue, like it's a personal failing, when they don't understand that, like, if you shoot a commercial, it's going to take 90 days for that money to to 90 days. And they're not going to tell you which day it's going to come out. Yeah. And some people have like grace, a little bit of grace, and they're like, let's tell them, or let's pay it in the 30 days. So all of that stuff was happening. Luckily, because I'd been auditioning for so much, I really, like, the renewals came up for me, like they showed up for me. And I would also do other jobs here and there, but it was tough. And now it's like food insecurity in South Africa as a young Black woman who is hyper visible. Like, people know me, and now I need work, and now now I can't relate to people anymore as just a regular human being. Yeah. Because they don't see me as a regular human being. So this, it's a very complex trauma and harm that if you haven't gone through it, you're never going to understand it. And that's the thing I've been seeing in the comments, people struggling to differentiate the difference between a character and the story versus the human being who got into an agreement to play the character in the story. The definition of reality and fiction. And the violence goes so deep to the point where people are like, oh, because you've been assaulted before, you are you're delusional, you are imagined.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Wow. It's wow. And this separation, I've heard about it. I remember one person who crystallized it very clearly was Putla Sibogodi, who said, they think I'm rich because I play rich characters on TV. Yes. And so that violence, come on, man, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's sad. And it's not just sad, it's a very deep injustice, a structural problem,
I'm curious about it as what have you learned about life, I guess, through this experience? What's been taught to you about us maybe as people?
I learned that it's important to be ready for the time, an opportunity that's best aligned with who you truly are, which means you have to make sacrifices for the life that you thought you'd have or that you have, so that a better life can come about for your most authentic self. And I remember, like, it was a shame. I remember there was some other co-stars, not the one of the incident, right? Not the one who violated me. Other co-stars who would see me in public and they'd shake my hand and they'd be like, ooh, sorry, in case I'm violating you.
Ooh, that happened?
Yeah, that happened.
You say it and you laugh. But that's
because it's ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh. Or some people saying to me, first they're shouting at me and they're like, why can't you just work? Why can't you just let it be about the work and just block out the noise? And I'm just like, but anyway.
No. Finish that thought. Because I want to play devil's advocate for a second and ask why can't it be about work?
Because it is about the work. I'm unsafe in the work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unsafe in the work. How can I work?
And let me extend it further. What do you understand about others not understanding that? It's
what they were told. Because those are the same people who will complain to me about the work. Their own circumstances they're pretty much almost going through the same thing. And they will complain
different font.
Yes, in a different font and different color. They'll complain to, so you see that now people start to buy the lie that in order for you to succeed, there's something fundamentally wrong with you is the reason why you're not succeeding. And it's like, no, it's a structural issue. It's in the structure.
Do you know, I'm thinking about it and I battle with the reality of this. And I'll tell you what I battle with, that we have a society of people who will never understand it. And that is just the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, yes. You can shout from the rooftop. They will just never get it. And how do we then? And then while we are in the space of misunderstanding or lack of understanding or lack of wanting to understand it, a lot of people get lost in the process. Some through death, some through suicide because they couldn't handle it, and there's another loss where we lose talent like yourselves who are saying, I can't do this.
No.
And that's a loss equally. And I sit back and say, this frustrates me because it's clear it needs to be attended to. And almost no one is doing anything about it. Am I correct in making that observation?
Yes. And I think you're right. And I think in the attempts that have risen, which aren't in vain, to do something about it, people have had very conflicting interests, which made it very difficult to execute the moral change that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And in the structure, right? So if I'm being told by the co-founder of an organization, and there's multiple, it's co-founder, right? It's not, I'm being told that by that person, I will not work. I'm being coercively controlled into silence, basically.
And to do nothing.
To do nothing.
And carry on working.
And carry on working, right? I've already been deemed problematic because I know what my boundaries are and I know what the contract says.
And this was never the case before this, as in the labels, whether they are problematic or whatever they are.
And you know what's interesting? I don't know a single actor that isn't complaining about the same things. Even the co-star that violated me.
What's different about you? In that regard, if everybody else is singing the same song, why does your story stand out?
I think it's because I said something.
Publicly?
But I'm not the first to say something. But I think also it's just a positioning, right? It's a story about the murders and the violations women have gone through, right? And it's about something real that actually happened. And it's a book written of the accounts of women who went through this, right? And they could never live to tell the story.
Yeah.
And now I have gone through my own experiences of violence.
And you can tell the story.
I can tell my story, but I can also tell the stories by portraying them on screen, like the characters of those who aren't alive anymore to tell it. And I, the actor who's telling the story, is being violated.
It's actually a crazy irony.
And that's I think that's what the
most
is about.
The most, yeah.
It's like, how sick is this? It's like, what are we? And I think that's what bothered me the most. Because I didn't just agree to just doing. You know, I struggle to watch gruesome things. You know, but you know, with regards to stories like this, because it's not the first time I portray a character like this, right? And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, wow, like, wow, like this is entertainment, which is, you know, part of the reason why I made that. And maybe people didn't notice it, but part of the reason why I made a picture of me with an afro portraying that character that was, you know, in the story, looking in the mirror, and the South African flag is behind, and there's an old projection, the old projector showing a film, or rather a projected picture of what was being done to Sarah Batman. Of these white colonial men looking at her, their pants off, you know, and she's naked on the podium, and they're just inspecting her.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt.
To them is some form of entertainment.
That's how I was feeling. I'm like, wow, this story, what I thought I was, you know, and I'm not comfortable to tell stories like that, but I thought I was, you know, lending my voice, basically, for lack of better words, to telling what happened to these people who didn't have the opportunity to say it, right? And in that, my body was violated, and it's about what happened to Black women.
Yeah.
And now people are consuming it, and I just wanted a written apology, and I compromised for a mediation meeting, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like I've made, or not even I've made, but I feel like I've contributed to some form of sick gratification.
Yeah. And then we should all just
move on. That's what shook me to my core.
Do you link the lack of work and the many callbacks directly to your voicing your grievances? In some way.
I think it's because it's you know, but there are seasons, right? So in general, the South African, and again, it's so interwoven. Already the industry is going through a hard time.
Absolutely.
Already, like it's probably for the past 2-3 years have been the worst years we've ever seen. And everyone
and it seems to continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
with the lack of productions and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying there's a seasonal element that plays a role in that.
There is, but this one was... Oh, yes. This one was vile.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been through seasons, you know, before I was even hyper visible. And that's the contradiction, that people are like, Nirvana, you're doing so well, and the envy that comes with it sometimes. Yeah, and it's like, oh, how can you be going through hard things? You're famous, you're rich.
We see you everywhere.
And lapo go because my landlord is displeased that I don't know when I'm getting paid, even though I'm showing them an invoice. I didn't have food in my fridge, and it was rotting. And it's so crazy because in that time, and it's happened multiple times, and it's also happened to multiple people within the building, right? so many people have complained about it in that specific building, you know. But in that time, people kept telling me, because I was going out, and I like to go out. I love to have a good time. That's just part of me. It's also part of my family. Like Ekaya, it was La Pagwamash, it was a political playground. It was an arts and culture space. It was the pub. It was the club. It was everything, you know. So I'm that. I love connecting with people, especially through dance and music. It's who I am. So people are like, you're busy going out. Groove is not foreign to me. It's just how I look. You wouldn't assume that, you know. But I had I'd be going out. I'd be trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, how can I leverage the platform that I've built? Maybe I can start hosting. Maybe I can, and that didn't work out for me. Like it's like my spirit was just like, Nirvana, the only thing that's going to work for you is who your most authentic self is, right? That didn't work out for me, but I still had a good time. I still made community in club culture, in going out. And I met someone who was so kaangazi what happened. It was during my birthday weekend, and I met him, and I was like, I'm like, there's something so precious about your spirit. And we exchanged numbers, and he was very polite, never forceful, never saying, expressed that I am interested, but more than anything, I'm so happy to have met someone who I guess share the same values as you. And there was a day where he called me just to say hi, and I just broke down on the phone. And I was like, I'm not okay. Like, this is happening in my life, and I feel like I've been blackballed, and I don't know what to do, you know. And I feel like unaliving myself, and I'm so confused.
It got that bad.
It got very, very bad. You know.
Did you reach out to family?
No, but my mom had an intuition. Yeah. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah. Yo, I've been crying so much on TV.
I'm so sorry.
And it's, yeah.
Aaron is not good. We always,
there's tissue, yeah.
That chair has problems. It makes people
It makes people cry.
Yeah.
I think also it's just I haven't really spoken to people about this in depth. And I think and I'm very grateful for the safety that I feel.
Yeah.
And
I'm so sorry.
the sensitivity, you know, because I've been trying to
Yeah.
you know, you know. So my mom had an intuition, and there was a day, and she seldom asks me, you know, my mom is very independent
And treats you the same.
yeah, and she'll say, oh, and she'll still do it, and she's like, oh, don't worry about it. There's a day where she asked me to pick her up from a casting that she had attended, and yeah, so I picked her up, and my spirit was so heavy, and she came to my place, and it was a mess, you know. It was a mess. The fridge, of course, was smelling, and I'm also quite stubborn, you know. And I've learned to. I'm stubborn about going through things alone.
Okay.
Which.
As in you choose to go through them alone.
Because I'm scared that, you know, if someone's unable to show up for me, what's going to happen?
Okay.
You know, because it's happened before. So I'd rather figure out, and that's life. There's certain things that you just have to figure out on your own.
True. Because people also have their own stuff.
Yes.
They're dealing with.
Yes. And so she just came and she cleaned my place. She didn't say, she just asked if I'm okay. She would check what was like still okay in the fridge. She would pray, adlala my frequency music, okay. And I didn't tell her what I was going through. She just saw me crawled up in the, because I just, yeah. So, yeah, I think also there's this quote that Thich Nhat Hanh says about, when you really start to understand your own pain, that's when you can understand the pain of others. And I really feel like in a lot of ways, that period being twasiswa in some way, to be able to have capacity for compassion. And it's not to say that more can't develop, right? But I remember when I don't know where we had to go. I think I had to leave her somewhere again after she cleaned my place. And she was just talking to me, and I was like, I was so overstimulated because of what was going on with me. And I was like, Ma, I'm just going through a really hard time right now. And I just need a bit of quiet. And she's like, oh, okay, Nana. And she was like, thank you so much for the way you said that to me. It's so thoughtful, the fact that you're going through so much, but what you were so compassionate
towards her.
And that's when I understood that quote.
Yes.
when we don't, and this is the beauty of accountability and repentance, right? As said in the Bible, because repentance, the word that they chose is repentance, but what it actually meant is transformation and renewal. And when you think about Christ and the cross, right? He had to you have to go through the pain.
The pain, true.
You have to go through the pain and not just go through it. Don't try to escape it and say it's with someone. I had to sit with those feelings of, I don't want to exist anymore. And I had to nurse them. And I had to not just nurse them. I had to not try to escape them. I had to say, I'm with you right now. And that was when I started to master the feeling.
Yes.
And they stopped being, bit by bit, they stopped being pervasive. So, being twasiswa.
How did you then feel like you've snapped out of those type of thoughts? Because those thoughts can linger and reoccur. How did you feel like you had snapped out of them? Because remember, when we started this conversation, we were talking about how the wound is starting to heal, and this is part of the wound. This part we're talking about. When did you feel like, now I'm kind of waking up to a better feeling?
I can't even pinpoint the exact place, but I definitely remember going through. Going through a bit of confusion about my social standing. Like abantu no more, and people can make up lies about you just to justify the envy that they may feel or whatever it is that you trigger in them, just to justify what they feel when they see you, you know? So I recognized, I was like, ooh, this is weird. And of course, also people making that co-star, the other co-star who was like, ooh, and other, yes, but not just that. I mean, that was just what, but other variations and just seeing, hey, I want to envious, but and they think I'm doing okay, but yes. And there was a point where I realized, oh, usually I would feel these feelings of wanting to give up, and I don't feel like giving up.
It's not in your character.
It's gone. That thing.
So that feeling is gone.
The thought.
Yes.
And the thought, maybe it would be like, oh my God, the thought would come up as, oh, I used to feel like this, but I don't feel like this anymore. That's how I would know that, oh wow.
It's when your body has been feeling ill, and then suddenly you don't feel it anymore, and you realize, I don't have that cough anymore.
Yes.
So,
but I used to have it.
I used to have it. Yes,
exactly.
It was, and I guess you find that cough has been gone for a few days, but you hadn't realized that it's no longer there.
Yeah, and I feel it's so funny because Oma was saying, isandla sikaNkulunkulu sivela kanjalo. Uvana ubona ukuthi hayibo kulungenini lokhu. When did this
feel better?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like your state of mind now. However, I spoke about other losses, and one of those losses is the great actress
No,
that we fall in love with so much.
but she's not gone. I think I expressed to people that maybe let me not say I'll never act again, but you're not going to see me on traditional media.
What does that mean?
It means I no longer have the desire to give my God-given talents to something that's so abusive. And it's not to say all of it is abusive.
Of course, absolutely.
You know, I think there's definitely spaces where things are healthy. But not just on one occasion, but on 2 occasions where I stood up for what was right. And I was blackballed, you know. I did a campaign about, I have a horse tattoo because I love horses.
Oh, yes.
And they kind of, like way, way, way back. And so like, in a lot of ways, like, even like when because we're traditional at home, kuke kwavela ukuthi kwakukhona umuntu wesimame owabulawa ngesandla somuntu wesilisa, you know. So it kind of makes sense that like the roles that I would play, like on the 2 occasions, you know, that like I would give voice to the person who couldn't say this is what happened to me, yes, right? Yes. And it kind of makes sense that even in my lineage, that's something that had happened, you know? And then also just in terms of amahash, you know, like I did a campaign at the Durban July with the NSPCA last year, and it had to do with ending horse racing cruelty and just, again, regulation. You know, again, regulation, and it was a beautiful statement, but I lost a contract, a presenter contract, because I stood up for what was right. And it's so interesting because even in the protest, we were liaising with them and letting them, because they had their concerns, and we were willing to work with them to, but you know, I remember someone that I used to work with called me and was like, Nirvana, I'm so sorry that I didn't say anything before, but, you know, in essence, what you did was bad for business.
Ooh.
And that's how, but is it really bad for business? I don't think so. You know, if you look at the core of it, but it's bad for their perception of business, you know.
It actually makes me realize, and I guess probably something I've always known, how fickle and easy to lose these jobs. It seems, even you know, because you almost want to have understanding humans around the table to say, but this is what we're trying to achieve. I'm not doing this to destroy any business, but I'm trying to correct something. Have you picked up on that? Because it almost seems like it's so easy to just lose it.
Yes.
Even when you're trying to do something that's for the greater good.
Yes. Which
is both instances. It was for the greater good.
Yes.
But it led to a personal loss.
Yes.
Do you feel like you lost something?
Yes, I think I lost codependency on a deeply flawed system, and I'm very grateful for that loss.
It's not a bad loss at all.
It's not a bad loss at all. I feel comfortable to and I feel safe to say yes and no when I feel like yes and no.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't feel safe to say no when they want to say no, and yes when they want to say yes.
We spoke a lot about financial dependency.
Yes.
And stability and everything that comes with it. Aren't you worried about that?
No, not at all. Not anymore. I mean, it is a concern. It's not to say that I'm now like...
It'll fall from the sky.
No, but I think like just so happy to be able to stand up for myself.
And allow me to use harsh adult words that are. Don't you think there's a part of delusion in it? In saying kuzolunga.
Hayibo phela ngizokwenzani phela makungalunga kulungile, but I'm still gonna. I think it's your part, it's the heart posture, and it's your attitude, and I'm very much enjoying the attitude that I have now, because it's just like it's rebuilding. Angizama ukuhloniphisa izinto engahlonipheki. Ngifuna ukulungisa. Yeah. So I'm very happy about that, and I think I think because of how we live in a very narcissistic time, so it's just one of those things where it's just like so much was stripped from me. Even if you look at Richard Grannon, who is he's a how do I put him? He helps people heal from narcissistic abuse, and I would recommend every single person in South Africa to go watch his channel. And it's unfortunate, it doesn't come in different languages, right? But if you can, watch his channel, and read his book, The Cult of One, because so much stuff is coming out about the different abuses that people have gone through, what files that are coming out in the United States, and by whichever artist, and it speaks to that same, it's the same violence. It's the same coercive control and the same system that tells you that the only way in which you can be human is if you're powerful over people.
Over others.
Yes, dominating others. So when you read or go through someone like Richard Grannon's work, he talks about how, if you're going to heal a narcissist, right? He speaks specifically to the victims of narcissistic abuse. And he talks about how you need to figure out what your moral compass is. This is right for me and this is wrong for me. It's not to say that you impose that on others, but it's for you. So these are my boundaries, right? And so it's about reclaiming that, right? And how so many of us have these voices in our heads that are telling us, and it came from the initial assault.
It's
the initial
the original sin.
Yes, the original sin, so to speak, or the original conditioning, right? Yeah. For South Africa, we can say colonialism or whatever it is. But he says that if a narcissist, because narcissism is a form of complex trauma, right? And also it's a developmental stage, being stuck somewhere, right? Because you either weren't allowed to grow out and individuate and become an individual. Gotcha. So me feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've graduated from something.
Yes.
And he says that if a narcissist is really is going to heal, for real, he has to lose his supply.
Oh, that's bad.
So
in reality, yes,
lose almost everything aside from his life, and still be conscious enough to want something better. And once you lose your supply, there's nothing that you can fall back on, because now I think being an adult is part of being an adult is to consciously say, I'm going to deal with the discomfort, and I'm going to sit with it, and I'm going to deal with it in a way that is productive and proactive. I'm going to try and be curious about the discomfort and what it's trying to tell me. And even though I have that goal, I'm not going to bypass my morals or disregard the discomfort
and what you stand for.
And what I stand for. And so a narcissist almost needs to be stripped away, because a narcissist or narcissism is everything that you are not. So it's the bravado, it's performing for everyone. But now if you strip everything that's supplying this false self, the false self has to die.
Because there's no supply.
Yes, because there's no supply. And
Umlilo that keeps this thing going is not there anymore.
Yes.
It has to eventually disappear.
Yes. So there's varying degrees of narcissism. We live in a narcissistic society. There's narcissistic personality disorder. Then there's narcissism, just having high narcissistic traits, and then it's working in a narcissistic environments. Yes. Yeah. So
would you describe?
Yes.
Sorry, I cut you. Would you describe your industry as
highly narcissistic?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess inherently.
No, it's highly narcissistic, and I think also just it's constantly trying to get the supply.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's everyone, not even just
Not
actors.
just the actors, of course.
Yes.
It's not. Can't possibly be.
And
Harvey Weinstein was not an actor.
yeah. And also that another key thing about narcissism is it tries to recruit people to become more like it. Which then you start to see people buying into, I need to dominate, or this is the definition of a man. And do you know, it's like, okay, now it's like recruiting people, right? Lose your humanity and come this side. Or
But it's not necessarily gender bias, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Or even with women, conform into this and forget about this and that and that and that. So pick your battles, you know.
Ooh, that phrase.
Yeah, pick your battles. Oh.
Do we in I guess some world, some reality where we will find a lot of people saying, and I don't want to necessarily raise the phrase "me too." However, are we likely in this country, because of how rife this crime is of assault and all of that within your industry? And I use the word rife in inverted commas because I don't know in reality. It's the stories that come out.
Yes.
Are we likely one day to find ourselves in a situation where a lot of people will be saying, I've been quiet too long. Those like you would have bruised foreheads because you hit it fast. But others will just walk through it and find that they have to speak out because this has gone on too far. Are we likely to experience that reality?
Yes, I think my mom hit the wall, you know.
Early on. Yes.
And it gave me a little more safety. So each and every one of us who hits the wall, maybe to lesser degrees or however we choose, we give more safety to the people who are going to follow.
Yeah.
And I am overwhelmed by. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude at how many people still believe in human dignity.
Yeah.
And that's what the fight is about. And that was what my fight was about with my co-star. I still needed to feel like he still believes in human dignity. And I didn't get that.
And that's it.
Yes.
You know?
I needed to know that. I needed to, and if there was a deviation in him, because people lose their way.
Yeah.
I needed to know that he can think about it long enough to come back to believing in it. And I think that's the new definition. It's not, maybe, let me not even say the new definition of justice, because even mawubuka usiko lwethu, you know, if someone emandulo wadlwengula umuntu, and they would go to the chief, and the chief would call the families, and something would be, and that person would like need to, number one, confess what it is that they did.
True.
And bacela uxolo, and baletha imbuzi or whatever the animal may be, ukuthi uzogeza lelo hlazo, ugeza umuzi futhi, yabona nje nalezo inhlungu. And then also they would have to introspect and figure out, like, why did I do that? Abanye bazothi ufuzo. It's something that was inherited from idlozi elingageziwe elingahlaliseli kahle wherever it is. Kumele ligezwe ke nani. Umkhubo omubi kumele ikhulunyiswe umuntu akwazi ageze kangene ekhanyeni, not to spiritually bypass and get to forgiveness. No. And that's the thing about justice, I feel. The new justice that I feel needs to come up. It needs to have transformation. And I think that's not something that's new. It's in our indigenous knowledge systems. It's in the Bible as well. One needs to confess what it is that they've done and then transform. And
in confessing, you are agreeing. Because remember, you have to say, I did it. And some people can stop at, we'll just sign off on, let's just move past it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yes.
Exactly. We'll sign off at sorry.
Yes.
And then move past it. But there's a level of in what you're saying, confession says, I own up.
I own up.
I own up to this.
And because going back to what the word that now was decided to be prayer in the Bible actually means contemplation, right? Because when we contemplate the impact that we have on people and why we made the decisions that we made, we allow ourselves the opportunity to grow. And if we don't process those feelings and go through the difficulties of those feelings, we rob ourselves of an opportunity to know ourselves better and evolve. So now growth becomes a performance, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how our justice system could potentially reform by actually acknowledging what our indigenous knowledge systems actually say about what does reform look like? Excuse me. What does reform look like? Because I want justice to include transformation and healing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful thing for someone to be able to say ngiyaxolisa. And ngifuna, I'm not just saying sorry ngiyaxolisa, and I see the impact, and I want to make things right.
I see what I've done.
Yes, I see what I've done, and that's how we protect each other's human dignity. And I really want, and I think the thing that I'm so happy about is that so many people, aside from those who were being unkind or saying that I lied or saying that...
So there's some who said that?
Yes, or saying that... and it's so unfortunate. They said that I'm hearing this from other people, and maybe I'll see a post here and there and not be sure if it's about me or not. But saying that I lied or saying things like, this is not the first time she said that she's been, or even and I'm just like, are we looking at the reality of South Africa right now? This is one of the rape capitals of the world.
That's true. This is
we don't know what consent is collectively as a country.
Yes.
We need to learn that anew, you know?
Yeah.
And
so if somebody says, it happened to me, we can't be the first to say, she's lying. It doesn't make sense.
And the stats are there, but it for a lot of people, it's so sad because it's like the comfort of delusion isn't even that comfortable. It's not even, but something has lied to us, about escapism and accountability and all that. Something has lied to us, and it's this fast food culture. It's just, it's so sad. But I'm so happy to know that there's so many of us that actually believe in human dignity, and that's what we're fighting for.
Your industry celebrates young, beautiful women.
Yes.
That's what it does.
Yes.
Puts them up on billboards, puts them up on TV shows and movies, and it sells content through their look. However, does it protect the same young, beautiful women? Does it protect their dignity? And I use that word. Does it protect maybe even their bodies and their mental health?
No, it doesn't. And I'm scared because Stockholm syndrome is real, and you can be groomed into a position where you think it's acceptable and it's right, and it's even though it's not. And Stockholm syndrome is it's such a huge symptom and indicator of how far you have been told it is wrong to connect with yourself and your sense of right and wrong. So there's a lot. So if there's one person in the room who's got Stockholm syndrome and they're controlling the tone of the room, right? We're very susceptible to social conformity. And then the baseline of the room is, this is acceptable when it's not. And which is why I believe in self-sovereignty.
Yeah.
I believe in self-sovereignty so much because I see the more I take ownership of myself and the consequences of me telling the truth or not telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm going to be quiet and omit my experience, what are the consequences of that?
Because one you'll accept it, two we will also accept.
Yes, but now I'm still there. I'm still in the same dysfunction.
Yeah.
Versus the consequences of telling the truth. Hate. You know what I mean? And at the same time, being aligned with people who believe the same things as me. So it's painful either way.
It is. There's a petty phrase that says, it's a double-edged sword, essentially.
It is.
Yeah, both sides.
Absolutely.
will be paid.
People you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
It's gonna choose the honest route.
Sure.
And so, I'm grateful because I feel like I didn't really know that I was doing this, but I feel like I drew a line in the sand. I drew a line in the sand and I said, on this side, real human dignity, and on this side, I'm scared, and I don't want to co-sign this anymore.
No, jeez, man, because when I was asking the question about protecting
women, yes,
your answer was immediate.
Yes,
I hadn't even finished asking that question.
No,
Then what's up with the silence? Again, Stockholm syndrome.
It's not just Stockholm syndrome. It's because who wants to go without electricity for 7 days?
That's true.
Who wants the discomfort of not having a car? Or
and being a superstar.
And being a superstar, exactly. Who wants to take the risk of like being in situations where they have to be around people, right? Or rather dangerous men, and needing to survive that circumstance. Just I'm looking at it as a woman because of the stats, right? But I also am concerned about men. I'm deeply concerned, and I think I think there's so much dogma with regards to religion and feminism and patriarchy and misogyny. All of the stuff has dogma, but if we look at the characteristics of that dogma, it's narcissism. Right, saying like the way in which we think about things, even if we say on paper we are about human rights, actionably, when someone's rights are violated, there's a coercive control that happens to keep that person quiet enough for the violence to keep happening. And I think that I've seen, I've heard many men go through, and young boys go through predation. People preying on men.
Yeah.
But for men, it's acceptable to be hypersexual or sexually available.
Yeah.
It doesn't
be the guy, be the man,
be the man. It's not.
If you're a what is it? You're celebrated.
Yes.
If you are like that inclined.
Yes, it's alcoholism is sadly acceptable.
It's crazy how acceptable it is.
Yeah.
We put it on our heads and take pictures, and we dance and
I'm not saying
show off what we're drinking.
And it's, have your drink, but alcoholism,
it's a different state.
It's a different state.
Yeah.
So it's and people are going to be like, sometimes, because people are because of the dogma forces black and white thinking, right? And someone is going to be like, I remember reading a comment saying, how, Kanti, didn't you do a sex scene in this other show?
The Outlaws. I think I read that.
Yes, I'm like, consensually. It was, yes, consensually. Did I agree to actually having intercourse with that person? No. Did we have No.
Was it, did it, I guess the ignorance there is, you've done the same thing.
But it's not the same.
You see, that's why I say the ignorance. That's why I use that word.
Yes.
The ignorance in that is, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, and that's and that's why consent education is so important, because I feel like last week and me coming out with the experience I went through, it showed that people don't know the difference between sex and rape.
Yeah.
you know, and it's like
The
consensual
is a factor, a key factor.
forced, but for them it's the same thing. How? But so that means, I guess, but she's not a virgin, so what? No, what does that mean? So what? You know? Yeah, so
there's a lot of education that's needed.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
It's very strange.
And that's why, fortunately with the having done this for so long, you build such a thick skin that the comments don't move you so much anymore. That's me. I'm reflecting my own life experience. Yeah, they don't move you so much anymore. I guess because you build a skin thick enough to withstand, and also for them not to, like, whatever. I know what I'm about. You don't know me. You don't know my life. I don't know you, and I wouldn't make. That's why somebody, when I was much younger, who gave me a very simple education about women and their cycle, and said, I'm telling you this and telling you that you'll never go through it. And as a result, you'll never understand it. But I gave you how it works.
Yes.
But you'll never go through it and you'll never understand
Yes.
it. And that education, it was easy for me to apply it in a lot of things that I would know I'll never understand because I don't go through.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. That's why I use the word, the ignorance of not understanding what the person is talking about.
Yes.
But yet they make such a strong statement
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah, and they don't know
Anything.
and it's telling. It's very telling, because then people start to say they start to assume consent is given just because you're in the room. Like, that's so scary. If you listen to, because I recorded me having the conversation with the investigating officer when I finally found the police station that could take my statement, right? And I was willing for it to be a civil matter. I just didn't know how. I didn't know how. I didn't have the resources. The cops were my option, So he was like, but it's a rape scene.
You were shooting a movie.
He's like, so how is it? He's like, my sister, sexual assault only happens with your hands. He must take your hands and touch it physically. I'm like, so what do we call this? If I'm like, Baba, what do we call this? Because if he didn't have hands,
then he cannot.
And he did that, and I was touched there. What are you going to call it? I know, my sister. I'm just telling you what the actual definition of sexual assault is, which I also went to the government website and I looked at, and it's all encompassing. It's not vague. He said it was vague. And it's like, no, it's all encompassing, including rape. So now I'm having a debate, and he's like, my sister, let me read to you the definition on page 9. And that recording is still up on my profile.
You have it.
Yes. Yeah. And he says, and he pages to page 9, and then he says, you know what, my sister, let's just make it a query. And I say, no, but please read the definition on page. He's like, no, I'm not saying I'm not going to take your case. I'm like, Baba, because I'm the one opening the case. If you're telling me what happened to me is not sexual assault, you need to tell me what is
sexual assault, according to you.
According to you and the book on page 9, because I don't want to go through with something and it's not what I thought it was.
Did the police do anything beyond that point?
I followed up. It was a long journey. My journey ended last year.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Since 2023.
Yeah. My journey ended last year somewhat, right? So you could say maybe my angas, if you said my journey ended last week, I don't know. But my journey ended last year because I finally met the prosecutor, and she was like, Nirvana, if I'm honest with you, there are no laws that protect victims, is what she said to me.
Wow. And this is a lady saying that?
Yeah, she's like, there's nothing. She's like, the laws protect perpetrators. There's nothing that really protects victims. This is what she said to me. And she's like, she's like, I've been dealing with cases where children were violated. And the law protected the perpetrator still. And that is a child, a non-consenting child who was drugged.
Wow.
You know, she would tell me those stories. She's like, Nirvana, I'm so sorry. And it's like, and now me getting justice is contingent on the people who witnessed the assault, number one. And two, the people who witnessed the admission of guilt.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of them.
And those people are no longer answering my phone calls. I asked them to, please, the cops are going to call you. Please, no, they're not going to answer my phone calls anymore. They're not answering the cops' phone calls anymore. The investigating officer is now telling the prosecutor, not knowing that he's on loudspeaker. I couldn't get a hold of Nirvana. So I don't know what to do. And then she's like, well, she's here right now. I'm like, in front of me. And I'm like, when did you call me?
Whoa. Did you lose any trust, I guess?
Yes, I don't have faith in the justice system.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of faith in my community. And I hope that my story teaches people that justice can come out through the community and through how the community takes information of harm and begins to validate that harm and reorganizes itself to make sure that we protect each other when the harm happens again to someone else.
Who is your community in this context?
I'm so shocked at how many people reached out. I didn't. Some people I don't even know personally.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And what are they? I'll use a simple phrase. What are they offering in their reaching out? What are they saying to you?
They're saying, "I believe you."
Yeah.
They're saying, "I believe you. I've signed the petition. If you need anything, call." And we got to stand together. And you were brave to speak out.
I have had enough guests on this show to say, I believe you too. And which is part of the reason why when you started, I said, I don't generally do sensational stuff. But one thing I do is speak to people in your world. And that's why when I saw it, I said, I dig her, man. She's so cool. This is not fair.
It's not.
Because I've seen this, I've heard of these things.
Yes.
And this is not right. And that's why I said, let me give you an opportunity to tell it in as much detail as you can. Because I saw you've been saying this with small clips and all of that. But I said, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you agreed to this, eh?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being able to speak about what it is that I believe in, because just beyond what happened to me, it's about structural change, right? And if we can't look at the uncomfortable parts, we can't change the structure that allowed those things to continue. So I'm very grateful that I'm allowed, I'm offered the community. And this becomes my safety and so many others. Yeah,
absolutely.
And not just my safety, but the safety of other people as well. So for anyone who's watching, if you're being victimized in some way and you've gone to the cops and you haven't gotten the safety that you thought you were going to get, and it probably just made things a lot more dangerous for you, tell one person that you trust.
Yeah.
And figure out your strategy of still being able to navigate life authentically without hiding or without succumbing to the abuse, which means you still have to be brave and say this was wrong.
Sure.
You still have to be brave.
The position of women in South African society is a very difficult one.
Yes.
It's a complex one.
Yes.
I can tell you this much, we would not survive without you.
Yeah.
I think you would do well without it. I think you'll be fine. We are the problem here. And I look at it and say, we are not doing much to to address the structural problems that we're facing.
I hear that, and I commend the awareness now that a lot of men have about their contributions to the dysfunction, right? Because we co-sign things and we make them okay by our participation, but
100%. And by your silence.
Yes, and by our silence, yes, and not just being conflict avoidance, you know. But I also like the people that hushed this were women in positions of hiring people, executives, co-founders of organizations meant to protect me in situations like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's the whole, this is not to blame men or women. It's to say that as much as some people can say we are the problem, we need to be careful about the language, right?
Yeah.
We need to, because it can also easily go into dogma, you know, and I want people to say that this was not right. And you don't hear a lot of that. And commit to the fact that it wasn't right and we need to make it right. In the boardroom, when you are afraid that your job is going to be on the line, why is your job on the line in the first place for saying that this was not right when something not right happened? Why?
Yeah.
So it's not just about, because that healed me, you know, like when they was like, because a lot of people assume that I initiated I didn't.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
The leaders who were present at the time, because there's multiple stakeholders who are there, who are part of the production that weren't necessarily there. And those men were the ones that said, we're going to deal with this appropriately.
Oh, yeah.
And that was silenced by women in executive positions that telling me that Nirvana, I've been violated before, so we just need to please, can you compromise on it? And I'm not talking about the safety officer from Umam Kuku Mhlongo was very clear about what right is and what wrong is, and I think she just wanted a proper apology, you know. And she stood up for me. She really did. But
Sure.
and that's part of the dysfunction. And I think a lot of people think that healing is just so that you can get your paycheck or the next opportunity that you're not even sure is going to come through. And possibly that next opportunity, someone's going to say, do you want to open your legs so that you can get this? It's not even dependent on your talents. Or do you know, like, there's just so much. And it's not about like putting everyone in jail who's ever done anything wrong. It's about reform.
True.
And it's about transformation.
I want to conclude it. Do you feel enough was done? They claim a lot was done.
No.
They claim all sorts of things, investigations and so forth.
No.
And you feel it wasn't done.
No, it was incomplete. And the reason it was incomplete is because people, whether it was in the production company or in the organization, those different people had their different views of what justice and accountability looks like. And it had a lot to do with personal and unresolved issues,
their own.
and their own sacrifices that they needed to make in order to get ahead and be in a specific position of power. And now they think that's the only route to moving forward,
survival,
to survival,
because they have to feed their kids.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
And I want people to recognize that the answer is not just black and white. There's nuance, and you can really find, if people investigate enough, what am I afraid of and what are my actual needs in the situation, and we can begin to co-create a just environment, right?
Absolutely.
You know, with the consideration of your interests and my safety.
Yeah.
And I think people go into dogma and black and white thinking.
We don't talk enough.
Yeah, we don't properly talk enough.
Yeah, we don't. I want to change gear for 1 second.
Yes.
And then ngongerang Pumela. Your parents' legacy is huge. Did you feel protected by it, or do you feel like it demanded you to be a part of what that legacy, the legacy of arts and music and so forth and so forth? When you're born into, if you're a soccer player, or rather you're just a kid and your dad is Kaiser Mtaung, you're born into this huge legacy of Kaiser Chiefs, and you kind of feel like, I don't want to follow through. I don't want to be a part of it. You end up in that career. Did it feel like a burden at some point, or it felt like something that was just part of who I was?
I mean, it definitely is a part of who I am, but I think it's the response that people have to legacy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's across the world, but I'll just speak in particular in this country, because I've heard a lot of children of people who have done incredible things like in South Africa say it's a bit harder, hey?
Really?
And you have to work a little bit harder. You have to, it's fine. It's good. You know, it's good because I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's good that you still face the same struggles that everyone else is facing.
Yeah.
Despite the greatness of where you come from.
Yes, of family.
Because now you get to innovate and create a new greatness for your generation.
Yeah. Did your mom, because when she was here telling her stories, she said, Flip, she was born into the game.
Yeah.
she was on stage with me, whether I was performing or whatever it is. I was in rehearsal.
Yeah.
She was around.
Yeah.
Do you recall those moments?
I do. And I think a lot, I remember when I first broke out with Outlaws, right? A lot of people, when they started to recognize like who my family was, it wasn't the first time it was mentioned, but like when the big breakout, they assumed it's some people who were like maybe my neighbors, they were like, oh, it must be easier for you because you were born. And I'm like, ooh, oh, you don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's not that easy. And if it was that easy, everyone in my family would have broken out. And that's just not the, do you get what I mean? It's not the case.
It means all the Jackson 5s should have been Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
It's not like that.
Yes, but people choose their different paths, and we vary from, we differ in our passions and what we choose to invest our time in.
Yeah.
So I just chose, yeah.
What type of child were you in that environment when you were growing up? Were you
Very
the observant
intellectual?
type?
Yes.
Were you?
I was like this. I was like this. And yeah, I used to love to perform and sing, and I was very much an intellectual even as a child. And I always said what I felt and what I saw about the situation. Yeah.
Ambitious? Did you have, obviously, an intellectual kid
Yes.
is by nature wants to achieve much.
Yes, highly ambitious, yes.
Do you remember the type of things you wanted to achieve?
I remember when Tata Nelson Mandela, when Ma was performing at his inauguration.
That event.
Yes. And I remember him picking me up and saying, you are going to be the next president.
Whoa.
And he said that to me, and it stuck with me for a very long time. And then when I broke into acting and I couldn't go to law school, because I chose directing, and my mom was like, you're not taking a gap year, you have to, which it still, I didn't like it, but it's still kind of worked out for me. I thought that wasn't a possibility anymore. And to a degree, there's moments where I judge myself. I'm like, how are we going to have a president who was on Outlaws and the first sheet? How am I still going to also advocate just for my bodily autonomy as a woman when it seems like presidency is this prim and proper thing, and but then I had to strip myself from the the optics of it and the ego of it, and really look at who I am. Right. And look at who I am. And I'm a person of systems. I'm a systems thinker.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who recognizes patterns. And I'm a person who thinks about how we can create genuine transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like a leader. And I think he was onto something. It might not look like a presidency.
It never does in the beginning.
Yeah. I might not look like that. Yeah. Like what he said. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I can see now with the work that I'm doing with working on this decentralized third body to co-regulate the film industry, and then that moving forward into music and other creative sectors, and also this app that I've built called Rollout, which is going to help people digitize their split sheets, and keep tally of like their creative process with songs. I can see how I think as a lead, and especially in that time, like that was the dream South Africa during that time. It was so beautiful.
We're all singing Kumbaya.
Yo, it was so beautiful. And I still hold on to that.
Yeah.
I hold on to that, and I think I'm grateful for that time.
And you were right there.
I was right there as a little baby.
Yeah.
And I held on to those words.
Yeah.
And I think those words also did something for me. Mm-hmm. And I think my parents' legacy and my grandparents' legacy and what they did during the struggle did something for me. And I hold on to those things.
100%.
And I'm seeing them manifest in the ways in which I communicate about structure and reform.
We have a lot of presidents who were actors. Don't worry about it.
Who?
Ronald Reagan.
Really?
Was an actor.
Oh my God. Oh wait.
Even the current.
Yes, Donald Trump had the.
No. Don't count him. He was not an actor. He had a show.
Okay.
It's a different story.
He was a presenter.
Even the current president of Ukraine was an actor.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And his situation is actually worse.
Wow.
He was acting a president in the show.
Wow.
And he became the president of a country that has been in war since he's been president.
Wow.
He literally aged in front of us.
Wow.
Poor guy. So it's not a cool job. Ask Ramaphosa.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying I don't think it'll look like that, but I think I understood what that meant.
Yes. In that moment.
In that moment, now as I'm older, I think I've defined that for myself differently.
Yeah. We spoke about this before we started recording. Your dad's legacy.
Yes.
We're talking about someone who was a maverick in music.
Yes.
Traveled the world, created music with superstars, and came here to a terrible incident of theft in his home, if the story is right, and a lot of great things were taken. What is your reference in your memory of your dad?
I think he was an incredible musician, and I'll never take that away from him. And I'll never take away what he's contributed to music in South Africa and jazz. And just like, I guess that intellectualism.
Because he was that kind of guy.
Yes, he was that kind of guy. But he was violent, and he was not emotionally regulated, and he was not invested in, and I think there's a lot of things that encourage that in him, right? The system that tells you in order to be human, dignified, or is to be powerful, and power means dominating over people. Yes, there's a lot of things, and I also think that with what he went through as a child, also just, in the church, even, having been violated as a child, which is why part of the reason I, as much as I'm keenly aware of the imbalance between men and women, I also want to be even more careful about my language, to not assume that maleness is inherently predatory and that femininity is inherently victimized.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because then even more violences can happen because in the in-betweens.
And also in the opposite.
And in the opposites, because no one is going to assume that auntie or umfundisi or would do that to a boy. No one's looking at a boy like that, or no one's looking at umfundisi like that.
True.
So I think there's a space where the experiences of both men and women, girls and boys can really be valid without it feeling like, yours is the only important experience. And that's a maturity that needs to come with investigating these very uncomfortable situations that people have gone through. And it's because the assumption, the silent consensus is that it is not manly to have been raped. We need to unpack that.
Yeah.
And I want more conversations to come out about that because we're not talking about that enough. I'm concerned about the young boys.
Oh.
As much as I'm concerned about the young girls.
Absolutely.
I'm very concerned.
And these two are going to meet.
Yes.
And they're going to create other kids.
Yes.
With their traumas.
Yes. Or whatever they heal from.
Hopefully.
Yes.
We always hope.
Yeah.
So, because, and interesting, you took us there. As you're talking, I'm thinking about how we don't do enough to protect the young kids.
No, we don't.
We talk about it in statistics and all of that.
No, but we don't.
Yeah.
And that sometimes, and sometimes it's the risk of destabilizing the so-called peace of the home. Sometimes there needs to be that one disruptor, that no-nonsense person, that people know that if this person is here, I can't get away with A, B, and C.
You can't.
Because there are consequences to that.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's amazing how I was trying to go to family and acting and arts and one aspect.
Yeah.
Your work is incredible. We enjoy what we watch. I've loved your work. I remember the first time I saw you was on my favorite show.
Yes, Outlook.
Oh, I like the story.
Yes,
I like the story. I think it's amazing. From it, I wish I could speak to the whole cast.
Yeah.
There's so many great actors in that show.
And I think also just great people. Like the person who played Uliruo.
Yes, there's the Soto guy.
Yeah.
The boyfriend,
yes,
so to speak. Yes.
Beautiful souls.
Yeah.
Sipati Mahamu, beautiful soul. Even Liana.
Sipati is the Soto, the mother.
The girlfriend.
Oh, the girlfriend.
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yes, the girlfriend.
Yes.
And then Keketson Pizzo, who played Clary. Also, you would never, like the way he played that, you would have never thought that he's such a beautiful heart.
I love that guy's character. He's such an
amazing.
abrasive, crazy man.
He's really amazing, and I have so much respect for them and others. They know who they are.
Yeah.
The ones that really just showed me what it means to be an actor and the camaraderie that it takes.
So there's a lot you got from that experience.
Very, very beautiful. And of course there's nothing without its challenges, especially with the kind of industry that we're in. But I feel like it's important for me to say, because I don't want people, because a lot of people have been saying, it's not the first time she said this. It's because I'm a vocal person and I assert my boundaries, right? Yeah. And because we live in the kind of country that we live in, right? It's unfortunate. It happens. It's a part of the culture, right? That people go through harassment or violation. It happens, you know.
Some will be quiet.
Some will be quiet. Yes, and I choose not to. And there's been moments where I've had to, because I'm like, this is a lot. Actually, I just can't, you know. But, you know, I think there's a lot of people who try to say that I said this about my co-star, Umayeza, which was Leruo. And I want to make it very public that I had an incredible experience with him, and I have respect for him to this day.
Yeah.
And I don't want people trying to, I don't know what people are trying
To say this is your thing.
Yeah, whatever that means.
She'll complain.
Yeah, she'll complain, or to try and make perpetrators of people that were never perpetrators. Oh, you did get what I?
So in essence, you're saying Awuhlanye.
Exactly.
Right now.
Yes. So I wanted to publicly say that, because I also don't want people who love the show of Outlaws to wonder, did Uliruo do this?
Yeah, because there are scenes where one could draw that conclusion.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to make that very clear. And I want to honor, his work and his dignity in that regard, because there's no way, like, it goes back to the boundaries thing. Where did you take that from?
Hey man, we manufactured it.
Yeah, it's manufactured, and I want to make it clear that that's very manufactured. Yeah.
Your character on is it Reka?
Yes.
Look at how you smile.
Yes, because that's the first time I. Oh no, actually, it's not the first.
It's not.
It's not the first time, but yes, in on such a public platform was the first time I tell that story. Yes,
like that.
It's similar to
to that show.
Yes.
Do you enjoy your time there, Reka?
Yes. They held that production down. They did a great job, and I was very lucky to have worked with the director Zintuli, who was my first director ever. For a commercial that I did for BP years ago.
So when you were younger?
When I was very young, yes. And that was the first time I'd met him when I was younger, and he was directing then. It was such a pleasure to have worked with him again and to see how he handled with grace that set.
If you were to strip away for a second.
As well as Catherine, who was also another director on the show. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you had to strip away really the issue that has brought such media attention from Red Ink, what would you say about the show?
Which one? Red Ink?
Yeah. Or is it not easy to remove that?
Well, okay. I see what you're saying.
If you were to remove the baggage that comes with your experience from the show itself and say, let's just look at the show.
It's a very hard separation to make right now. Right now. Just because of the lack of safety and the betrayals, people going back on their word, or people saying, oh no, I didn't do it anymore. Or people and what irks me about it is the disrespect to what's actually happening in South Africa right now.
Yeah.
And so it's a very difficult separation to make right now. But if the show had the purpose at its core, the sole purpose of making sure that we highlight gender-based violence in such a way that it shakes people and it inspires change in a very different way related to the show, the purpose of that show has been fulfilled through the story that I've come out with and my experience and being brave to talk about what it is that I've gone through. If that's truly what the intention of the show was, for us to see how gruesome and insidious this violence is, and then for us to also reflect on how gruesome and insidious the violence is within the industry, and just also psychological abuse, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think then I think God has made sure that if that was the intention, if the intention wasn't to sensationalize the murders and the rapes of Black women in particular, if that wasn't the intention, but if the intention was to say we want to see real transformation, I think we've hit a nerve.
I wish to see you again on TV, man.
It's not gonna happen.
No, wait a minute.
Not anytime soon.
Did I at least
not
say that?
ever.
No, there's a difference between not anytime soon and not ever.
No, okay, because I really don't have faith. It's just there was a point where I couldn't go to auditions anymore. I was scared to get the job.
Wow.
After those 10, and then when I'd look at a brief, I'm scared to go into an audition because I don't want to go through this trauma of the 10. I don't want to go through the trauma of something else happening, because nothing's changed.
If you got a call this morning or this afternoon or tomorrow and they said, audition Friday, you're available.
No.
What is your reaction?
No.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm done.
It's a small little TV commercial. Izuzo sebenza.
I mean, commercials have always treated me well. But I say that with a grain of salt.
Hey, man.
But for the most part, I think 90% of it has treated me so well. Because of the healing that I've gone through, I really do listen to my body. And if someone were to say that for Friday...
It's a commercial. We shoot it next week. It's a 2-day shoot. We're out.
It doesn't... I feel...
It's Coca-Cola. Uzabo petty podlela je uphuze cold drink.
No, not for where I'm at right now.
No.
And I haven't closed the door on commercials entirely, but I do feel like I need, because I feel like commercials, right? That sector, the advertising industry, I feel like TV and films can learn a lot about the structures of advertising
from
because very, very progressive on this side.
Yeah,
very, 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 very progressive. Right. So I'm sad to say goodbye to some of the casting directors, like Marina from casting directors and Mandy from. I'm sad.
I think it should be sad to say goodbye to us, huh? Because we are sad to hear you say these words.
I know, but I really want to focus on my energy, because I feel like I'm now that I've done the amount of work that I've done, I feel like I'd be lying to myself if I said I have the energy to go back.
Was it the 10 that changed your mind about it, or was it the experience of what date was it, or when there was a violation? Yeah,
in September 2023.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 10 September, I think. I think it was a build-up, because it was almost like an unraveling about what it is that I'm actually a part of.
Okay.
And how dysfunctional it is, and I think. I'm just like, I can't, I've seen too much for me to say that I can continue. I've seen too much and I know too much, and it's really not aligned with me. And it's not to say that I've stopped acting. I'm going to use my gifts in a different way. I'm going to tell my own stories one day.
Yeah.
I'm going to, but I would want to have the structure, build the structure, which is what co-regulate the industry is about, to make sure that whatever stories I tell, that the people are safe and that the ecosystem is sustainable and functional.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been wasting too much time trying to make it. And, of course, being able to showcase my gift is incredible. And to act is a beautiful thing. And sometimes you meet incredible people. The camaraderie is great. But I think I'd be wasting my time with doing that, especially right now in the same structures that
haven't
changed.
You are the second person I speak to in this room who says, I am not doing this anymore. It makes me very sad to hear that. Fatiswa sat there and said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And it left me with great sadness, because, yours is proper talent. And when we watch it, we enjoy it. And,
Thank you.
And there's so many people who said, but so what doesn't make sense. You say you'll never act again. How does that even make? This is what you do. So to hear someone like you say that, I guess we'll play reruns.
And she's done a lot of work to contribute to the changes that are necessary, you know. But it's still hard, you know, because I feel like we haven't nipped it in the butt.
I think it's too elusive.
It's too elusive. So
you can't even hold on to it because as you said it, there are people who acknowledge that it happens but will never say.
Yeah.
They will just pretend the world is fine.
Because they have these consequences.
Yeah. And they're real.
Real life consequences. So again, grace if you can.
True.
Or if you want to. And sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you got to be like, aibo. Even if it's you know, you can't let this continue.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Leave me with sadness though.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say hi to Mommy.
I will. I definitely will.
Tell her her episode will play eventually.
Okay.
We have a backlog of 14 episodes.
Oh, wow.
We record a lot of stuff in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you saw when you walked in.
Yes. I think I want to. How do you do a podcast? I'll call it the presidency.
There you go. Actually, people will watch. You'll be surprised.
So
and you have a very clear, strong mind, and you're not afraid to speak, and you're not afraid to lose stuff when you speak.
Yeah.
And that independence is incredible. Meg has that same independence.
Thank you.
Meg G has that independence where I'll speak. There's a client of mine, not his, who used to be his client. And that client says, we want to hear nothing from that guy.
Yeah.
Because he said F you to us.
Which is fine. I mean, there's sovereignty.
Yeah.
Same as his sovereignty.
Absolutely.
You know, it's okay. And I think we need to stop wanting people, even if we were a client to someone, we need to stop wanting people to peg. I'm not saying that's what your client is doing, but it's like, hey, shy, they don't agree.
Yeah, and also I guess is how you say we don't agree. The difference is to saying I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
And you can use harsher words.
Yes.
Or you can use respectful words. See what I mean?
There's nuance to
absolutely
everything.
But it can always be, he said no, but I walked away feeling
okay.
You see?
Yeah, there's ways to say. I mean, a lot of people they're like, Nirvana, the way you handled this, I don't agree with you. Could have handled it better. I'm like, I did handle it better. For 3 years, I've been waiting for it to be handled better. It
didn't happen.
Didn't. So this is the best I could do.
I wish you well.
Thank you.
I wish one morning you wake up and you say, I'll go to that audition.
Nope.
Take care, man.
Thank you.
Wow. There she is, eh? Wow. She's an incredible actress in my world. I hope to see her more on TV one day. But we'll keep watching The Outlaws. Where there's a scene, this guy, get no matter. Thank you, man. Take care.
King David Studio Podcast.